Blessings, Capricorn, and welcome to my channel. You are watching Spotless Mind Tarot. My name is Cassandra, and today I will be your tarot reader. In this reading, we're going to take a look at the year 2025 to see what we have in store for you. I'm going to pull one card for each month to get the overall theme and major events occurring for you month by month. This is good for Capricorn rising sun and or moon sign. However, just your sun sign is good enough for these tarot readings. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So for January, we got two cards, and ironic enough, we got the High Priestess and the Hierophant. So you have the two archetypes that are polar opposite of each other, the feminine and masculine. And this is pretty wild because before I started shuffling, I picked up my deck and the first card on the top fell, and it happened to be the High Priestess. And so going into January, it seems that you could be coming into union with somebody or within yourself. I feel like there's a balance between both polarities with the feminine and the masculine, and this can be with any polarity because they both represent many different things. The feminine represents the dark and the masculine represents the light, and then there's the whole being assertive and then being passive, the whole good and bad and all that stuff. So I feel like for you this month, you are coming into some kind of union here, whether it's with someone else or within yourself, that has to deal with polarity. Okay. And I think it's pretty major and pretty important. And for a lot of you, it is something that you might have worked really hard on. So this could even be a project, this could be related to business. So maybe you made a deal with somebody, or you're able to begin a business with a partner that complements you, that is literally your polar opposite, and is able to help you balance these energies within the business you are starting, or whatever it may be. If it's a relationship, this is a relationship that could be like soulmate relationship. Either way, I think it's pretty major here. Okay, so with the High Priestess, this has to deal with our consciousness, with the higher consciousness. It has to deal with your dream state and allowing the universe to flow through you, allowing time and energy and vibration to flow through you so that way you could receive. And the Hierophant is a more grounded perspective of that, where he has all that higher knowledge that the High Priestess has, but he's able to ground it here in the reality. So this would be like spirituality, and then he would represent religion. Okay, especially because he is dressed in Pope gear, and it looks like he's, telling these guys something, some kind of lecture. I don't know. I think it's really important that you see the significance of this connection, whoever it's with, or if it's with yourself and the universe or whatever. Like, no matter what the connection is, I feel it is important that you really recognize it for what it is and not take it for granted either, because I think this is like, it's almost like a sacred marriage. This is beyond like you and this other person, or you and yourself. This is something that is so much deeper than, anything that you could put into words. Okay, so January seems to be a major month, a major pivotal point, a turning point, or even a culmination. It could be an ending or some kind of union where, like a marriage could be an ending to, being a bachelor or bachelorette, or just an ending to a relationship that is outside of marriage. And then the marriage would be like, it's the culmination point, right? But then after marriage, obviously now you're married, and there's all, you got all that going on. Okay, so that's like a whole different journey. you have to go on. So I feel like it's a mix of both, where it's like the Fool card, the Fool begins and ends the or not the zodiac, but he begins and ends the major arcana because he is 0. So he is literally like a point in space and time. Or even the World card, which is ruled by Saturn, which rules Capricorn. It's a beginning and an ending. And so that's exactly what's happening here. There's some kind of culmination point that begins and ends. It's, I guess like a big bang in a way. So I feel like there's a lot to say, honestly, but because of time, I'm gonna have to keep it short. But for the most part, this is just a really major, major month for you. And pay attention to what occurs, the people who enter your life and the people who leave your life, and what ends and what starts and all that good stuff. Again, like I honestly feel like there's so much to say, but I can't do it. So that's January for you guys. For February, we got the Nine of Pentacles. So, whatever happened in January, I said that it was a major turning point. We had the High Priestess and the Hierophant. So, this is a divine union of polarities and opposites and whatever. And so, the Nine of Pentacles in February tells me that you finally reached a place in your life to where you feel really content, where you feel like you've won or you've succeeded. Okay, even if you've had many wins in the past, I feel like the win that you have either in January or in February, or I guess up until this point, has put you in a place to where you feel like you could finally rest, but in a way to where it's like you worked so hard and it finally paid off, which I know is really hard for a Capricorn, because trust me, I'm a sun in Capricorn. And so, we tend to, it always feels like there's always work to be done, and we work really hard, no matter if you're a lazy Capricorn or a hustle Capricorn, because there are two different kinds of Capricorns. um it doesn't matter, like you still have strong ethic. And something that came up this morning that I realized is that Capricorns are really great, fantastic, even problem solvers. And so that can put them in positions at work where they have a lot of responsibility, because they know how to figure shit out and get it done, compared to, I guess, the average individual who probably doesn't have great problem solving skills. So for the most part, I feel like it's hard for Capricorn to feel satisfied, because it's like there's always a problem to be solved. Okay, especially for a Capricorn, like there's always fucking problems. I guess like that song, I don't even know the lyrics, but whatever. So yeah, February, I feel like you are finally just at a place in your life where you feel really good, also really safe and just secure overall. So I think it more or less, it's security, whatever security means to you. Okay, it's going to manifest different for everybody. Of course, financially, you could be really doing really, really good right now, but even um if it's not so much finance, I feel like you have an abundance of something that keeps you secure, whatever it is at this moment in time. So February is looking really good in terms of overall mood, overall satisfaction with life, and just an overall sense of security. So that's February. And for March, we have the Three of Swords, and I'm kind of laughing because, January, February looked so great. In February, you were so secure. And then here comes March to, throw a wrench into the wheel, or whatever the saying is, um, like a fork in the road, I guess. You're kind of just, yeah. So I do kind of feel like you are at a crossroads now. Um, Something comes up that puts you in this position, and it's going to be different for everybody. I do know quite a bit of Capricorns. I have no idea how many people are going to watch this video, but regardless, I do know quite a bit of Capricorns that will probably watch. And we all, Capricorns are so interesting because they all, like, they're so different from each other. but they have like those common things that they can relate to. I really don't know how to explain it, but maybe you guys know what I'm talking about. And so, whatever comes up, obviously it's going to be different for everybody, but I feel like I guess it's just going to be very, very personal. Okay, so, whatever it is, it could be some heartbreak or it could be something that like pits things in this position. I feel like for some of you, you're still going to be on a high ground. Like the world is going to look like this, but maybe inside you don't feel like this, okay? Or it's vice versa. You feel like this on the inside, but the outside world does not look like this at all. So, like I said, it really depends. I feel like in March, it's such a toss up for everybody. The bottom of the deck we have is the Lovers. So there's something you're not seeing, is maybe help from other people and guidance from the divine. Maybe you're having a really hard time trusting the messages you're receiving, or even trusting what it is that comes up in March to cause the Three of Swords. Um, you're like not seeing the lesson. You're not, this could even be Uranus, because Uranus is changing signs and whole signs. If you're a Capricorn rising or whatever Capricorn placement you have, it's still going to affect you. But Uranus will be going into the sixth house. And so that can cause a lot of stir up in your everyday life, in your career, your job, and your service to others, and even like dealing with pets and that sort of thing. Your health, something could come up related to health. So I feel like in March, regardless of where Uranus is at that time, even if it's not in Gemini yet, I don't know. I don't know the dates. I know that these transits are coming up, but I don't know. I'm not paying attention to the dates. I don't want to overwhelm myself with that right now. But regardless, I feel like there's going to be a lot of shifts happening, and it's going to at first seem really bad. So, and that's what Uranus does. It could shake shit up and bring endings and that sort of thing. Like you could lose a job, but rest assured, because the Lovers at the bottom of the deck, what you're not seeing is that there's actually something better on the other side of the rainbow coming for you and coming and entering into your life. And so you just got to hold on. So that's what you're not seeing about this. The top of the deck we have is the King of Pentacles. And so you really need to stay grounded and know that you are still in control. I feel like that could be something you struggle with, is that it might seem like you're not in control, but trust me, you are in control. And because it's the top of the deck, I feel like this is what you see. And I did mention earlier how I kind of feel like for maybe a lot of you, it's like the world around you is kind of falling apart, or people in your life are falling apart. But like you're cool because this guy's pretty cool. He's pretty, I mean, I love this card because it looks like he's one with nature. Like it looks like the foliage and the leaves have like grown onto him, kind of like poison ivy vibes. So maybe that could be a message. Maybe that's an archetype or a character you can kind of like adopt from, get inspiration from. She is a villain though, so maybe you're entering your villain era. But regardless, this is your strength, I guess you could say, because it's the top of the deck. And so just know that you are still in control, and things are going to be fine. It's just a hiccup. Like again, I said, a fork in the road or a wrench in the wheel. What is it? I don't know. I'm just going to go with that. So that's what we have for March. For April, we got the World card. And I find that funny because I mentioned the World card back in January. And so January and April could be connected. Maybe in January, I did say it was like a culmination point. Maybe it doesn't get finalized. And maybe that's why in March you also feel like the Three of Swords, where's where's my blessing? Like there's something that happened in January. Like, where's my blessing? I'm still waiting for it. I feel like in April, you could receive that blessing. There could be a connection. Otherwise, if there is no connection, we do have the World card. And so this is a beginning and an ending. I feel like something major and pivotal is happening in April. I feel like it's a major, major ending. Okay, this year seems pretty damn major for you guys. I feel like there's so much to be said, but it does seem so highly personal. And that seems pretty on par for Capricorn because, like I said, like, I feel like no two Capricorns are the same, you know? Like, Geminis are Geminis, right? Like, every Gemini is a Gemini, but not every Capricorn is a Capricorn in that sense. So, like, I feel like it's just so personal. It's so personal because we're ruled by Saturn. So, everything we do, it is so personal. It is so very karmic, all right? We all know too well about karma. So, it's kind of funny when people say that, like, karma doesn't exist. And it's even funnier if you're a Capricorn and you believe that, which no diss, believe whatever you want because, I think it's great that we can. So I think it's really important for us to believe what we want as long as, it's viable in some way. Okay. For example, like the flat earth thing, like obviously I don't believe in flat earth, but you mean like if you lived in a 2D world, the earth is flat, right? So like the flat earth exists on some kind of dimensional plane, right? I mean, so that's how I see it. That could be like another thing coming up is your beliefs are being challenged, or maybe you're finally like accepting a belief. So maybe some of you are being baptized or converting, or you get some kind of certificate for something that's related to religion. So it could be religious studies, it could be like occult practices, maybe like I don't know. I don't know anything about that stuff as far as like how occult orders go and like, you know, fraternities and sororities. So that could be another thing. Like maybe you apply to college and you're entering into a fraternity or a sorority. So to where, it's a lesser level of like occult, you know, groups and whatnot, but it is basically like a coven, like you guys, I don't know anything about it, but from what I see it is like, there is like rituals and stuff, and so it does have like occult roots or connotations. And so with that there could be a religious aspect in the sense that any ritual, anything that connects you to something is, I guess you could consider a religion. So yeah, I'm just like receiving a lot. It's like a whole mess right now. So that could be another thing too. There could be a lot going on in April. I mean, this is the world card after all. So there could just be some really major events happening and a lot of activity that aligns you with the world card energy. Okay, Saturn is obviously coming into play here, and it is a very karmic thing that's coming up. So I think that's all I'm going to say for April. This year so far, honestly, I'm not going to lie, it's been kind of hard to get this reading going. I was supposed to start like an hour ago, an hour and a half ago, but I just like, I feel really drained and like I changed my outfit a bunch of times and like I said okay, I'm not going to do it today. I'm just going to like do other things around the house, and then something hit me. It's like no, just do it. And so I feel like this year is full of changes and full of uncertainty, and as soon as you get a spark of inspiration or a message to do something, even if it dissipates after a few minutes, um stick with it. Okay, so like I said, I didn't want to do it and I said I wasn't going to, but then something hit me like no, you're gonna do this reading today, we're gonna do it now. And I'm like, dude, that's so Capricorn, of course I'm gonna do it. But then a few minutes later go by and it's like, oh, I don't want to do it. That feeling I got telling me to do it, I was like, I gotta listen to that because I think there's a message there, and that seems to be the theme for you guys and possibly me because I'm a Capricorn. um to just go with your instinct and to know that there's something to it, you know, there's something to be said or shown to you when it comes to your uncertainty, but still moving forward, still proceeding forward. Okay. I feel like there's so much to say. It's crazy. So we're just going to end it there. Okay. If you guys do need a private reading, I am available for private readings. So if at any point in the year you feel like you need guidance into anything I've said about these months, especially if they resonate for you, then please feel free to hit me up, reach out. I only offer tarot readings on my Etsy shop. The link you can find below in the description. That is the only place I sell tarot readings. I don't have any impersonators, but just in case it happens, just know that that's the only way you can get a reading from me. And I only offer 4 readings. So yeah, I feel like you guys could just seek guidance from sources like a tarot reader or from astrology or other psychics or anything, or even just from yourself, your own intuition. You know, we got the High Priestess and the Hierophant in January. So I feel like you could really trust anything that comes up within your psyche and just go with it. Okay. So I think it's just important to really tap in and lock in for sure. Okay. Because this year is, it's full of changes and surprises. And I haven't felt like that for the other signs. I mean, I'm sure there's someone that got a lot of changes happening. But for you guys, I feel like there's a whole lot of changes happening. Like more than usual, I would say. I feel like Capricorns, just they're always going through something, but it's not always change. It could always just be like the same thing. I feel like this year it's going to be like random. Okay. And then they're going to be phases. Okay. So it'll be manageable. And I think that's another thing to know, is that you are in control. Okay. You may not be in control of the universe and the world around you and other people, but whatever it is you go through, you're in control, and you're fully capable. Okay. For May, we got the Ace of Cups, and this card fell out on the floor. So May seems to be a period of cooling off and calming down. I feel like there's a relief here, because Ace of Cups, I always get a relief and a renewal. Okay, I did mention something one month where there's something about like a baptism or like a conversion, like converting, and it had to do with religion. It could deal with philosophy as well. I would say like ninth house matters, but your ninth house is a Virgo, so you want to pay attention to that. There's some messages you could probably receive there. I mean, you know, Virgo rules the 6th house, and Uranus going into your 6th house. I think there's a connection there between your 9th and 6th house. Okay. I feel like you can find relief. So maybe the converting to a new religion or whatever it may be has really helped you reach this point in the year to where I think you could finally trust. It's not so much you can finally trust. I feel like you can finally calm down. And I do feel a lot calmer. um, you know, you could finally see some results with something, especially when it in regards to relationships, both platonic, romantic, and even business partnerships. I feel like there's some kind of accepting an apology or accepting something that brings some kind of healing. So May seems like a month of healing for you guys. Some of you might retreat and go into solitude, or maybe you go on a vacation that's just like the best vacation you've ever had, or something comes up in May to where you feel pretty chill. So I do feel like there's a lot of activity going on, but like the vibes are totally chill. You know, things are just flowing naturally. I feel like knowing you have control, you give up control, if that makes any sense. And that could also be that polarity I spoke of in January, where control and no control are opposites, right? They're a polarity of each other. And so you could find yourself in the middle of all of that, knowing you have control and knowing you don't have control, and like being literally in the middle of that union. You're able to bring it together. And so the Ace of Cups does signify a union. It could signify a new relationship. Okay, if you're in a relationship already, whether it's platonic, romantic, or business, this could be a sign that you guys are ready to enter into the new phase. Okay, I feel like there's a with January, we had the Hierophant High Priestess. Last month, we had the World card. I feel like there's these like culmination points, and they're not the exact ending yet. And so, like, I don't know, it's interesting. I kind of feel like there's going to be a lot of culmination points, a lot of moments where you like hit the climax of a story or of a situation, and but there's no ending, like you kind of, it tapers off. If you ever see like the graph of like a story writing, you have like your story, whatever it is, and then the climax, right? And then it goes back down, and it's not the ending of the movie. Like you still have more to go. I feel like you guys still haven't reached your ending, but you keep hitting these climax points. Okay, so May seems like another climax, but it's a softer one because it's the Ace of Cups. Like I definitely feel more at ease here. So I feel like everything up until this point, I feel like you're just like, okay, um, this is probably going to keep happening where I reach climaxes. And it's like you're going to just learn to just, maybe not learn, but I think you're able to just like, again, no control and control. Like you're able to just flow quite literally. And once again, I just feel like there's so much to say, but like it's not coming through. But also, like, I feel like I could spend an hour on each month, honestly. Um, there hasn't been other signs like that. And that's probably why I struggle to start this reading, because I felt the energy before it came. Like, oh my God, there's so much. But yeah, it's really cool and it's really interesting that this is all happening. So that's what I got for May. For June, we got the Queen of Wands. And so things can start really picking up in June. I feel like you're going to be really social. You'll probably be invited to a lot of events, or you will be hosting events or a event in particular. This could also be a wedding going on, whether it's yours or someone else's wedding. That just happens to be the major event of the month for you. Either way, there seems to be a lot of social gatherings. For some of you, this could be business related or like networking. For others, you're just social. So even if it's not a large gathering, like you're not like at like a party, I just get the sense that like maybe you're going to the mall a lot or something. You're just like going out a lot, whether it's with a lot of people or with just yourself or one other person, whatever. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of social gatherings and outings happening, and it's more playful. So if this is business related, I think it's again like networking, to where it's like it's it's business related, but it's not work. Because you're just like getting to know other people and like exchange business cards or whatever. Either way, June seems like a big month. I'm also getting something about a convention. Maybe you're speaking at a convention or something. I feel like there's something about an astrology convention or some kind of astrology event that you attend. I think it's in person. There could be something online for some of you, but I feel like, and this seems really specific, but maybe like only one of you or just a few of you are going to like some kind of astrology convention or event, or some kind of gathering like that. Okay. The Queen of Wands is a hostess. So again, that could just be why there's more social events, but also like I do feel like you're gonna lead the way at some kind of event, whatever it may be. Um, maybe you're a bridesmaid at a wedding, because I didn't mention a wedding, and so like your job is to like look out for the bride and do all that good stuff. So yeah, it could literally be anything. I think it's cool because it's all uplifting and it's all like fun, and just like, there's no pressure. So whatever it is, there's no pressure. So enjoy June, because I think it's full of just like really cool energy, like just really vibrant and upbeat energy. For July, we have the Two of Cups. And so this year does seem like a big year for romance and relationships, but just relationships overall. Like, there's a lot of improvement happening here in terms of relationships. So I would look at your relationship houses. I would say like your first, second, seventh, eighth, and 11th house would be like relationship houses. So like see what's going on in those houses. But regardless, relationships of all kinds are just harmonizing and improving. There's more union. So whatever happened in January, as I mentioned, there's like these culmination points. So now I really feel like January and July, come July, like whatever happened in January, it like finalizes in July, okay? Because this is like this is the marriage, right? Like this is like you finally get to where you want to go, okay? You finally get to come into union with someone or something that was initiated in January or something like that, okay? So at the same time, it doesn't have to relate to January, and it could be something else entirely. I do feel like there's something you have to let go of, though, in order to accept this, okay? Because there is some kind of proposal or some kind of offering being made, but you're also making an offering, and I feel like you need to make a sacrifice. Which, what's new, right, for Capricorn? When are we not making sacrifices? But I feel like it's it's different for everyone, but I feel like it's a sacrifice that's like not really a sacrifice. It's just, you just have to give something up, okay? And it could just be your own cup, like your own independence, like giving up your bachelorette status, right? So it doesn't have to be marriage. This could even just be like a brand new relationship, or a next level in a relationship, whether it's new or long term. I do feel like business relationships are doing really well. So far this year, like that seems to be the thing. It's like romantic and business relationships, and like they kind of go hand in hand. Um, because a business partner is a pretty big deal. Like it's like a spouse, because you're running a business, and with a spouse, you're running a relationship. So either way, it's a pretty big deal, and it probably is a one-on-one relationship. Even though I did say like all relationships are harmonizing, I feel like there's just that one relationship, maybe two, that you have with people that are just like the focal point of the year for you, or of the months. And they could be different every month, different relationships, different focuses on relationships. And I did mention how like things are going to be like a phase. Okay, so you could be dealing with a business relationship for one point of the year, and then romantic, and then whatever, right? So it's like you have a one-on-one focus with each one, even if they happen at different times, okay? So I think that's cool, because it allows you to be fully present and there and available. I think that's another thing that's really important, is being available where you need to be. um again, like the responsibility that Capricorn naturally has, the problem solving skills you naturally have. I feel like it's important for you to be able to give it your all to a particular thing, so you're not distracted and you're not multitasking and things like that. So I think that's cool, because I feel like for a lot of you, especially if you're a Capricorn rising, like you multitask a lot. And I feel like 2024 was like a wreck with all that. Like there's so much going on. I feel like in 2025, you guys can like finally like focus on one thing at a time. Um, but you're still gonna have to like focus on multiple things. But again, just like one at a time. Okay, so that's basically what I got for July. For August, we have the Page of Wands. And so June we got the Queen of Wands, and now in August we have the Page of Wands. So I feel like I'm hearing like going back to the drawing board. It's like a month to where now you want to renew something that you did in June. So June seemed like you made a lot of social connections. So let's just give an example. If it was business related, you were networking a lot probably, or you made some kind of connection that could be really important or significant. In July, you could have probably finalized that connection. You probably could have began a business with somebody. I feel like in August, it's like now you guys are at the beginning stage of whatever it is you two initiated. Okay, because this is a year of initiation, which I don't know if I mentioned that, but based on like everything I've gotten so far and starting the year with the Hierophant and the High Priestess, it's definitely a year of initiation. I didn't even say something about like joining a sorority or a fraternity. So, it's like ritualistic in a way. So even if you aren't doing something like that literally, I feel like the universe is initiating you. So the Page of Wands, in August, I would keep an open mind because there's a lot for you to learn, okay? I feel like whatever you're doing, you are it could be something you're already familiar with, okay? But there's some learning that needs to be done. So I would just take caution and even kind of have like a curiosity for things, be really open to lessons that come in August. I feel like you will be learning something new, okay? It could be related to anything in your life, so apply it to how it resonates, okay? We are dealing with Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. And so July to September could be months of this energy where you need to be open and receptive to learning a new skill, a new trade, learning how to be more assertive and dominant in your life, like learning how to be that Queen of Wands, like be that leader, be that hostess. Okay, especially those who are more introverted and more kept to themselves. I feel like these are months where especially after June, to where it's time for you to go out there in the world or just be more present. Okay, so it doesn't have to relate to you dealing with more people, but it could just be like you're more just being more available, or just being a little more public, okay? Whatever, however that looks. Okay, so you can even just like start a new job. Now you're like exposed to a new environment, and I kind of lost my train of thought. But yeah, it could be something like that where you're more seen because you're the new guy at work or the new girl at work. And so people are curious and eyes are on you, okay? But I do feel like it is like amateur. So whatever it is, you're like amateur. Even again, even if you have like look, you have a PhD in what it is you're going to do, you're amateur in a sense that you're starting something new and also like learning something new. So maybe you are going back to school or something. This is Wands energy, so it does have a lot to do with creativity, passion, and drive. Okay, it has to do with manifestation, like just taking action, however that looks in your life, but it's from a perspective of like a newbie or like an amateur. Okay, so you kind of have to like earn your position. It's like you become a manager, like you're already skilled at what you do, um and that's why you became a manager. Like you've proven yourself, but now as a manager you have new responsibilities and new things you have to learn. So yeah, it's basically like that. So that's what we got for August. For September, we got the Seven of Wands. And I feel like obviously this is a card where you have to defend yourself. Okay, defend your position, defend your rank, defend something you said, something you've done. I feel like some kind of issue is going to come up, even maybe like an injury, and it's going to be quite challenging. I feel like September is full of challenges, however that may look for you, okay? There's a lot in your way. And it's almost like you can't beat it, but there's nothing to beat, or I'm not sure. Like there's a lot of barriers. So there's something here that you are being challenged, and like you're in a fight, but like you can't beat this fight, but at the same time, like you have to fight. Okay. So that's basically what it feels like. It's like no matter what you do, you're not going to win, but you have to keep fighting. Okay. And that's really interesting. I feel like Capricorn sometimes won't do something because they know they're not going to win, because they know they're just going to put their all into it. And if they know they're not going to win, then like, what's the point of like doing that? Because they tend to be a bit of overachievers. They tend to go above and beyond with whatever it is they're doing, even if it's a hobby. Like they'll go above and beyond in that hobby for no reason other than they just enjoy it. It's kind of sick. um so like, but September, it's like there's something here you need to fight against, and you're not going to win, but it's important that you do, because we'll see what happens in the following months. Maybe we could get some clues as to why you have to keep fighting, or keep putting in. I always feel and know for a fact, especially as a Capricorn, that what goes around comes around. I think a great example I can give is I did product photography a few years ago for a flower shop. I did some like other businesses, but like they were the main client, and I learned how to like do like a setup, and we shot inside like the white cube, and like did the lighting and whatever. Like I'm an amateur, or like a self-taught photographer and a self-taught artist, and so like I never took any formal training for anything I do. Like my paintings, like I just paint, like no one taught me how to do that. So I guess what I'm saying is, I did photography, and then I stopped doing photography. I don't do that anymore, at least like not like professionally or anything. And I started making jewelry and started selling jewelry on Etsy. And my past experiences of doing product photography really came in handy, because I was able to take some pretty decent pictures of my jewelry. So whatever does happen in September, just know that it's going to come back around. Okay, so it is important that you keep fighting it. Whatever it is, it's a challenge. Whatever challenge comes up, you want to be resistant, in the sense that you want to push back. Okay, but appropriately. Okay, however that looks, and whatever it feels like you need to do, just go with it. Okay, because it's going to come back around. Whatever this challenge is, you will defeat it at a later date. I don't know if it's this year, and I almost feel like it's not going to be this year, whatever it is. So you could experience a defeat. Like I gave up photography. It's a defeat, even if it was my choice. And then later it came in handy, my photography skills, at least with product photography. Because again, I'm self-taught, so it's more just naturally comes to me. The skills I learned came in handy later on in my life with my jewelry. So it's going to be something like that. Okay. So September, it's just a challenging month. You want to push through, because there is a reward later on. October, we got the Seven of Cups. That's so funny. It's Venus and Scorpio. I mean, I have a love-hate for this card, because it very much demonstrates Venus and Scorpio. And we are in Scorpio season at the beginning of October. And so yeah, it's gonna be an interesting month, to say the least. Or not the beginning of October, I'm sorry. The ending of October, we enter into Scorpio season. So Venus and Scorpio, whatever they're doing in your chart, could be activated. I mean, I kind of feel like Venus has been activated all year with relationships. October seems kind of interesting. Okay. It's funny because I got this card for Sagittarius, and like they were on some fuck shit. Just kidding. Like they just, this was something that was like right in front of them, but they're so stubborn they can't see. I feel like for you guys, like you see everything that's in front of you, and I don't think you're struggling with it. Okay. This card could be a card of struggling with the choices ahead of you. It's like there's illusions, there's trickery, there's a lot that's being offered. There's like, you know, if you know anyone with a Venus in Scorpio, maybe you can kind of understand where this is coming from. You know, a Venus in Scorpio wants to give you their all. They will do anything and everything for you. Okay. It's like Bonnie and Clyde energy. And so I feel like you're accepting a challenge. So September, we got a challenge and you accepted it. And now October, it's like, it's interesting because I did say, like, you're not going to win in September, but now we're in October. And I think this is why you're not going to win, because you're going to have many choices. Okay. So you're not going to win in the sense that, like, you're not getting first place, like, and that's it. You're not going to win because October, there's a lot of choices. There's a lot of opportunity. So whatever challenge came up that you overcame, this is like not the reward itself, but this is like choosing a path. Okay. It's like a blind date, you know. I don't know if they still do shows like that, but I remember like growing up, 90s, early 2000s, there's a lot of like blind date kind of shows, you know, where it'd be like one person and they're like interviewing people and they can't see them, and then at the end they pick somebody. So it's something like that where it's like you don't know what you see you see the contestants, but it's flipped now to where that those shows you don't see the contestants, but it's like for you guys, like you see them but you don't know what to expect, right? Like you don't hear their voices or something, or like you have to choose based on what you see. Okay, so with that, there's caution because you don't want to choose the shiniest thing, right? Or the it's interesting because I always say go with what you first see, but I feel like you don't want to choose the most obvious, I feel. Okay, even if it's not the first thing you see. Okay, that that's the message I'm getting. You don't want to choose the obvious choice. You also don't want to settle, and you also don't want to take the safe route. So it's going to be kind of difficult for some of you. So yeah, I could see where now it's difficult for some of you, but for others, I think it's like you don't want to pick the obvious choice either. It's so difficult, like, because I'm just getting so many messages. So this will be what's coming up in October. Okay, I don't know how to put it into words. Everything I've just said is like relevant. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna stop there with trying to get the message out. The bottom of the deck is the Eight of Cups. So something you're not seeing is that you are walking away from something here. Like whatever you choose, something obviously is gonna leave your life, but it's almost like I did mention that you're choosing a path. And so whatever you choose is you means you have to walk away from everything regardless. Like whatever you choose, you still have to walk away from everything. So that's something you're not seeing, in the sense that, like, I think that's why you don't want to choose like the most obvious or the most safest or the most appealing, because it's not about that here, because you're walking away from everything. Okay, like it's like a whole new, like if pretend like these are different portals to like different realities. Like once you go through that portal, you're not coming back to this reality. So there could be a major timeline jump that you do, a major shift that you do. Maybe not in October, but it will be the result of what you choose. Okay, and again, like how I said, in September, there's no reward or award for or winning. Okay, October, it's kind of like the same thing. Like you're not winning, but the choice you do make leads you to your destination. Okay, the top of the deck, we have the Page of Cups. So you want to really be observant of yourself, of your thoughts, and you want to go within. Again, I think that's why you don't want to choose based on just looks, because you really just want to go within. You also don't want to choose on what you think is safe. You want to choose your intuition. but I feel like that's just like so cliche to say, but it's definitely something like that. You have to go with them with the Page of Cups. You have to observe, but you have to observe yourself. So it's more like a Libra energy, which October begins in Libra season. It's to where it's a mirror. Libra is a mirror, so you want to mirror yourself. Okay, so that's what we got for October. For November, we got the Queen of Pentacles, and it like pop up out of the deck. I love it. So November, you're gonna feel in your element. You're gonna feel like you're finally just in your element, in your place. I feel like you're gonna be pretty good all year, and there's not going to be much of a struggle with you being yourself or anything like that. If anything, you're going to be more of yourself this year. In November, I feel like you're finally like at a place again to where it relates to February in the sense to where you just feel completely content with life, like completely just everything's cool. November seems more chill compared to like February, although February is pretty chill, but like the Queen of Pentacles is a pretty chill individual. This is Capricorn, and they're more focused on themselves, whereas like the King of Pentacles is more focused on the external. You're more focused on your external. You're more focused on your world, and it kind of does look like she's holding the world in her hands now, and she's just like kind of watching over. Okay, so you could be more observant this month, maybe more introverted, but not in like in an insecure or shy way, okay? And not like in an anti people kind of way. It's just you're just gonna be left alone a lot more, or you're just gonna find a little bit more solitude with yourself, okay? I feel like you're planning something here, you're setting something up. You know, the Queen of Pentacles has all kinds of plans that she doesn't announce. She keeps it to herself. I feel like you need to not focus too much on the pentacles though, because there's something you're going to miss. There's something you could miss. I think it's a message from the universe. So, because I'm being drawn to the rabbit here in the corner. So, rabbit energy, rabbit spirit animals can lead you to a place you've never been before. You know, follow the right white rabbit. But it's more like, you know, I did mention something about portals too for last month, and I always like get a visual like when you see rabbits and bunnies like hopping around, like they'll be like running forward and then or hopping forward and then like jump in a completely different direction, right? It's so cute. But I always imagine like they're like evading portals or they're like hopping through portals, you know. So it's just universe messages. So yeah, maybe there's a portal that opens up metaphorically, you know, that you don't want to miss. There's something you could easily miss because it is kind of hard to see that bunny because it is like in the corner, and like I forget it's there quite often actually. You know, I don't know how many times I pull this card and I hardly ever recognize that. So yeah, you want to keep your eyes open this month. I think you probably are able to because you are more observant. So yeah, that seems to be November. So December, we have the Three of Wands in reverse. So I feel like December could be a month where you face some kind of restriction or some kind of like break or pause. You might have to step back from something here, and and it has to deal with something you're pursuing. So whatever you've been pursuing up until December, you're gonna have to put it on the back burner for a bit. And it's probably because it's holiday season, but also I just feel like maybe you just get a lot of time off. Yeah, I feel like there's like a time off, or like at the same time, you could also just be really busy to where you don't have time for your pursuits. Okay. So it's gonna be different for everybody. I still feel like, regardless of what it is, even if you have time off or whatever, it's gonna still be pretty active. I feel like it's gonna be adventurous if you are traveling. There could be delays, but I just feel like really you're just gonna put things on the back burner So maybe you are traveling in December, and so you can't pursue your career or your whatever it is that you got in your life. It's like you have to kind of put a break on it, okay? And it could be something like, for me this month, I am so busy. Oh my God. I had to stop taking private readings, and like I had so many people ask for a private reading. Unfortunately, I can't do it right now. I'm so busy with work, and then I have to record all these videos for YouTube. I don't even know if I can finish Aquarius and Pisces before the end of this year. So it could be something like that, where you have to put a pause on something in order to pursue something else, okay? You do have to put something like career related. So like my tarot readings, I don't consider a career or anything, but I had to put that on pause. So I'm not making money from that this month. But also, aside from making money, I think, because that's not what it's about. It's like whatever it is, it does relate to like making money or an opportunity to make money, okay? If it's not money, just something that yields some kind of profit to you in some way, metaphorically or whatever, something that is just as good as money, okay? But yeah, you are doing something else instead, okay? So it could be like that, or like the example I gave with myself. And I think also, just like holiday season, I don't know about you guys, but I fucking love Christmas, okay? Like, I'm so sad it's gonna end in like a week and a half from the time I'm recording this video. And even though I decorated super early, I always start hella early, like middle of November. I start, or even like right after Halloween, I'll start putting shit up. I'll slowly put it up, and then I'll put the tree up eventually. But yeah, it could just be like you're approaching Capricorn season even. And so like you're just like more focused on that. You're more focused on um it's like yourself. So yeah, like it could just be so different though for everybody, obviously. You're just more focused on yourself. The top of the deck we have is the Queen of Cups. So you're gonna be in a really good feel good place. You're gonna feel really emotionally secure. You're gonna feel emotionally satisfied as well. So I feel like this Three of Wands in reverse isn't gonna affect you too much. Like, yeah, like you might lose out on making some kind of money or some kind of opportunity, but you're doing something else, again, that's so like equally as good, equally as important to you in your life, okay? And then the bottom of the deck, these cards are all upside down. So maybe it's funny because the Queen of Wands is probably upside down on my deck, but it's showing right side up for me. So that's kind of interesting. And then the bottom of the deck, I got the Eight of Wands in reverse, but the deck is actually upside down. So it's in the upright position. But because it's in reverse, it's telling me that it seems like a topsy-turvy kind of month, where things are like flipping on its head. Like roles are reversing. That could be another thing coming up. Roles reverse, but things are slowing down, and it's probably a month to slow down, even though I do feel like there's activity. So I think if there's a lot of activity, to just slow down and enjoy the moment and just be focused on the here and now. So I do feel a lot of sense of like presence, you just being present and very much more focused on what's happening right now, and not like what I got to do. I mean, obviously you're going to have plans and whatnot, and you're going to look forward to things, but like your day-to-day life, like you're just going to enjoy the moment. And yeah, I think that's great. Again, I feel like there's more to say for you guys, but I'm just going to end it there. So that's what we got for December. So thank you, Capricorn, for allowing me to read for you. And if you made it to the very end, thank you so much for watching. It has been an absolute pleasure to read for you guys, as because I'm also a Capricorn, so I could relate. And I'm curious if any of this is going to come up for me as well. So yeah, I'm really curious because there's a lot to say. And I know I've got that for another sign where there was a lot to say for them too. I can't remember. It might have been Cancer. And if it's Cancer, that's wild because that is your sister sign, your opposite, your polarity is Cancer. So if that's the case, yeah, you guys, something's going on here, some kind of activation between you and whatever other sign it was. And I have a ringing in my ear right now. Like, tinnitus, whatever the fuck, it's the universe. Okay, that's a frequency. Even if it's tinnitus, I don't care. There's a spiritual reasoning for it, regardless. Whatever. So yeah, I just feel like culminations and like climaxes, and then like maybe one or two endings for those climaxes. But I do feel like things are just kind of lingering. I also kind of feel like you guys are setting something up. You know, what goes around comes around. That's something I've said for this year. um you know, things you learn, yeah, whatever you learn this year, if you don't apply it, just know it's going to come back around at a time when it's going to be very necessary for you to use. So there's so much I could say. So it's been a pleasure, and I wish you guys all the best, and I think it's just going to be a great year overall. Okay, so I'm really happy for you guys because you totally deserve it. It's so hard being a Capricorn and having Capricorn placements. So yeah, I think you guys are just, you're just in a good place. So I wish you all the best. All right, and take very good care.